How's it going, everybody? This is Dustin with Team Conti Performance with the race run replay for our track tutorial for Watkins Glen. This is 25 Season 3, Week 8 in the trucks. We're going to jump in with Nick Ottinger on this replay, and we will ride with him for a few laps. Here's his 10-lap run. And we'll go ahead and get this started. Alright, so a lap in the books. We're going to go ahead and analyze corner by corner. Alright, we're all set. Just pulled up his notes so I can make sure I don't miss any information. So off into turn one. Just watch his lift points here. So we're rolling out. Here's the light that is one of the markers many people use, which is what Nick is doing there. Downshift into second. Nick expressed that it is very important to get the right front tire down on that curb at the center of 1 and 2. Or sorry, turn 1. Use the runoff up to third gear just before you turn off the runoff. If you keep the rights on that rumble strip, you won't get an off track. Allows you to keep the wheel straighter as you're applying the throttle, whereas if you're pinching your exit down here, you're slowing too much. So keep that in mind. Up to third gear, pretty late apex into 2 to get another decent late apex out of 3. Let's listen to those shift points again as well. This is kind of important through the carousel or the S's because it does tend to get pretty light in the rear in this uphill section. By light in the rear, I mean loose. So to fourth gear between 2 and 3. Lift point into the bus stop. The 600 marker. And he's rolling out of the throttle and into about 50% brake. The blip on that throttle was the downshift to third. And you see how much of this curving that he eats entry into the bus stop. Gives you a better angle through this second section. The two left-handers, again, just eating the curb. Catches a little grass right there. That is not an off-track either. Let's listen to the shifting this time. Go back to cockpit. Let's catch that one more time. Fourth gear. Third. And just held third. Through the bus stop and the carousel. Again, using the runoff around the carousel. Let's take a look at the carousel a little closer. So Nick's getting down. You can see the rubber on that yellow line. Really both points where the rubber is on the bottom of the track are on that paint. Those are his apexes. It's kind of a double apex or a diamond. Coming up off the line, getting it pointed back down, getting that straighter exit, and then up over the runoff. Let's take a look at our lift point here. So just past where this asphalt on the right kind of cuts back out to the grass. Looks to be a part where he's rolling out, or point where he's rolling out. Pretty heavy braking in a straight line as he starts to turn and he starts rolling out of that brake. That's important. Anywhere you go where there's heavy braking, you want to brake in as straight a line as possible so you're not overstressing one tire. If you have that heavy braking with the wheel input in it, it will fatigue that tire more or just cause it to get light in the rear and loose on entry. And that was third gear. Keeps it in third, downshifts to second here. I will just go ahead and repeat a few laps here. So you may notice he's holding it in third gear that whole back straightaway into 7, and only it ships there at the end of the straightaway. That's not worth shifting to fourth, first of all. But secondly, as speeds slow down, as your exit speed out of the carousel and your straightaway speed there will be slower. It won't chip as much later in the run. So, point to bringing that up is a lot of people might want to use that point where it hits the rev limiter as a braking point or as a quote unquote marker. Um, that is only going to cause you to drive in deeper and deeper as the run goes into 7. So keep that in mind. Um, use other markers other than just the depending on it bouncing off the chip. Pay close attention to these traces, his throttle and brake traces, and wheel inputs as well. I found that very interesting through the S's. He was carrying a lot of momentum, but not a lot of throttle, unless the truck was relatively straight. Also, a lot of roll time, no pedal at all, no throttle, no brake into turn 8. It just blows my mind how consistent Nick is. It's like we could pick any lap and analyze it, and there's very little variance. I would advise reading through his notes. Nick was nice enough to not only do these replay runs for both race and Q, so if you haven't checked out Q, do so, but he also put together the notes for this track. So you'd be doing yourselves an injustice if you didn't read what he has to say about getting around this place. Alright, starting lap 10. Well, I sent it through that bus stop. Alright, so there is 10 laps with Nick. Couple of points I want to make to wrap up the video. Um, this race is scheduled for 31 laps. The fuel window here is around 29 to 31 laps. So to win this race, you're not going to pit. Um, if you do, you'll lose to those who don't. So um, make sure that you find a pace that you can stretch that fuel out to those 31 laps. Couple things you can do to save fuel. You can shift a little earlier when shifting up. You can um, back up your entry points, um, your lifting points. Uh, when doing that, you can brake at the same time. You just lift earlier and let it roll. Kind of like that one terminology would be lift and coast. Just increase that, and otherwise, your braking, your everything else will be the same. Like I said, you can short shift exit, upshift earlier, um, and then just regular fuel saving tactics. Maybe throttle to 90% if you don't need to push. Um, that kind of thing. It's definitely going to be a no stop race though, so keep that in mind. Also, like most road courses, or like all road courses, really, most times you're not racing the people around you as much as you are racing the track. Put in the practice, find consistency, and you'll end up with some really good finishes. Otherwise, I don't have anything else other than once again a big shout out and gesture of appreciation to Nick for doing these replays for us this week, um, and the notes as well. And I can't stress enough how important it is to go back and read through those. They are in the setup pages, and they also are um, in the package shared to you. Um, that is all I've got for this week for the track tutorial at Watkins Glen. Wish you the best of luck. Reach out if you have any questions, and we're happy to help. Thanks, and have a great week.